Good afternoon, good Wednesday afternoon to you all out there in Cleveland Browns land. Welcome into a Wednesday live edition of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob. That's Casey Kinnaman. Nick Carnes will be with us momentarily. He's running a little bit late, but he will be hopping in with us here shortly. Shortly, I say, as he as he arrives. Wow.
Hi.
We got to adjust this angle. We got our new fancy schmancy freaking overlay. And so,
look at that.
Fancy schmancy. I just had to scoot back a little bit from the screen. Gotcha. Welcome in. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. Use our promo code Barking Browns, all one word, at SeatGeek.com. Get $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you hit that subscribe and thumbs up to us over here on the YouTubes or wherever you're listening to us. And if you're watching this live, you see that up there on the TikTok. You have 2 days to get us to 500 followers on TikTok, and I'll do the One Chip Challenge live on TikTok. So,
baby.
If you want that, we'll do something at 500 on TikTok, period. But if you do it soon, it'll be even funnier. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm doing good, man. I've managed to emotionally separate myself from all this nonsense. I have moved on. I am purely in evaluation mode. All these motherfuckers are going to get it too. I'm evaluating everything top to bottom.
I'll tell you what. I want to give a special shout out to the Austin, Texas Browns backers for having me over this weekend. I was in Austin. And it takes a lot to be dedicated as a Browns fan. It takes more when you're further away from Cleveland, and even more when it's about 80 degrees outside and you could be doing any fun thing your heart desires. And that place was quite full. We started out pretty happy, and then it got quieter over the course of time. But got to talk to some Texan Browns fans, get their stories. That was pretty cool, and I had a good time, and so I know the game wasn't great, but at least it's about the people. I think it's about the people you share it with at this point.
And as Jack comments in that there's no escaping the nonsense. To an extent, I think that is kind of Casey's bobbing got a little bit bobbing and weaving in there going on. So yeah, so here we are. We're on the bye week now. It's funny that Nick mentioned, still finding ways to have fun. We did a live stream of the game, and there is a chance that we'll continue to do that because I did have a good time. Just kind of, even though the game wasn't great, it was fun talking to you guys in the chat, hang out with Casey, and just kind of bullshitting on there. So it's finding ways to make things somewhat enjoyable during a disastrous season is what it is, right? Like that's just kind of where we're at. But yeah, I'm with you, man. We'll talk about that, and we're going to dive a little bit more into it because the title of this episode is it Shedeur Sanders time? That is plain and simple what you've got to figure out this week. I know that immediately on Monday, it was on Sunday. I think he might have said it again on Monday. That Kevin said that, there wasn't a quarterback change, which is interesting. But we all know that you can be told one thing and then 2 weeks later it's totally different, because it could be one of those things where they're just trying to be like, they don't want to make headlines or, whatever bullshit reason you could come up with. But I would not, until I know for sure, you know what I mean? Till it's very definitive. I would not be like, hey, Dylan Gabriel's 100% the quarterback, because it didn't sound super. It sounded like a brush off, right? Like just like go away. Don't ask that question. Go away is what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like there was a lot of conviction. Did you feel that way, Casey? Do you feel like there's still the chance that they could make that quarterback change, or do you think they're going to be stubborn and that was him being completely honest?
Yeah, the second thing. No, we're going to see Shedeur. I just don't think it's going to be after the bye, like right after the bye. I think they're going to give Gabriel a longer runway. I feel like that they're in this, they're already where I'm at. I think they've been there. I think they're just evaluating. I don't think they're trying to save the season. I don't think they're throwing a Hail Mary attempt which is wild to me. You're the worst offense in football. You were dead last in EPA. I think second worst in scoring, next to the Titans. I think they're just evaluating, which to me is crazy that we're putting all these veterans back out there.
Yeah.
Like I'd strip if you're going to truly evaluate. If we're going to be bad, let's be bad because we're playing the rookies. I don't want to, I feel like that'd be the way to go, man.
Here it is. Here are the stats. For the offense. Total yards per game, 263. That's 31st. Pass yards per game is 174. Yeah. You are not even averaging 200 passing yards per game. You're significantly under that. You're like 26 yards per game under that. You're 30th there. Rush yards per game, you're 29th, 89.5. And points per game is 15.8, which is actually 30th. There's actually two teams, the Titans being one of them, that are worse than you. And I can't remember who the other team it is, but the team that's 32nd is scoring like 13 points per game. They're not even averaging 2 touchdowns a game.
And if we take the defensive touchdown out of this, the Browns are right there offensively.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I pulled these stats off of ESPN just on their total stats on their website. So yeah, that probably is factoring in a defensive touchdown, and that probably does change. And it also, like, one thing that I think about in that Dolphins win against the Dolphins was the defense essentially had 2 touchdowns because Jenkins' interception put the ball on the 2-yard line and set up that score as well. So take out both of those scores, they probably are 32nd in the league in that situation. It's been abysmal, man. Like, it's been abysmal. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. Like, it's gotten to the point where, like, I watch what they put out and then I can't watch football the rest of the day. like I genuinely, I put that in our Discord. I was talking to people in our Discord and I said, like, it's such a pathetic display out there and it's so aggravating that I am sorry, hold on a second. I'm just adjusting something while Nick had to step away for a second. But it's to the point where I'm so annoyed by what the product they're putting out there. I have to cleanse myself from the sport, which sucks because I'm missing out on other good games from good teams. It's like really frustrating in that sense. But I look at all this stuff and I say, like, what is your argument for continuing to run the status quo? And we'll get into the Dylan Gabriel side of it in a second. But where's the argument? Where's the justification for running out Wyatt Teller, for running out Ethan Posick, for running out Joel Bitonio? I know Joel's a legend, and that Joel's is a little bit different because of the legend that he is. But it's like, why not put out Zach Zenner? Why not put out Tevin Jenkins? See if there's a future with those guys, especially Luke Whippler, because I think Posick has just been so awful and he just cannot move. And you got to be a more athletic guy to run Kevin's scheme, and he doesn't have the movement skills at this point. And I think Whippler does. Like, and one thing that really pissed me off is against the Dolphins, they went away from Isaiah Bond because he was struggling. Then come this game, they start putting him back in there again and running a bunch of plays and targeting him when he hasn't earned it. Like, put out other guys. Every time Thrash gets a chance, he does something. I feel like every time Thrash is out there and he gets targets, he does something with the ball. But yet you're like, oh, we like the potential of Isaiah Bond. I'm not saying cut Isaiah Bond, but he's not to his potential yet. So give it to the guys that are making plays. Larvidan's made a few plays when he's gotten the opportunity and things of that nature. You just keep shitting down your leg and you're like, if I do it next time, I'll be able to hold it in my butt a little bit better and the poop won't slide down. The next time I've got to shit my pants, I won't shit them. And then you shit your pants again. And it's just infuriating, man.
So my only thing for Bond is he must be amazing in practice. Like he must be in practice showing things that we don't see on game day, that they have that level of confidence in him. And I get that he's the most physically gifted as far as explosivity and stuff that they have. But, we time and time again, he's not coming up, And I know that during the TV copy of the one where he jumps out of bounds, technically that's on him at the end, but Gabriel should have hit him way earlier in that play. He's running butt ass naked before that happens. And then when the ball gets to the catch point, then he jumps up for whatever reason. But there's just, and to your earlier thing, what's the argument for putting these veterans back out there? There isn't one, man. There's not a conceivable one. I expect him to be sellers at the deadline. I expect to see at least one new interior player, probably Jenkins, if I had to guess. Zinter is kind of a mystery because he can't even be active on game day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the disconnect there is, but like if you're trying to fast forward this process, because we're here for the long term, right? Whipler's going to at least be in the conversation for your starting center next year. You got to get him reps, man. We can't be doing this next year, learning on the fly next year. This needs to be something that happens towards the end of the season, and I expect it to be sooner rather than later. So I would say Teller and Pochich, you got to figure out ways to move on. Now, Pochich, you might not have any biters to trade for. Teller, I think you would. You'll get what you gave. You could probably get a 5th rounder for him, and you probably have to give a 6 to do it. But Barry does that shit anyway. So, I think that's the move up front. But I'm pushing. Look, as bad as we are right now, I would rather be bad with young players figuring it out, trying, being hungry, And if you're bad because they're not ready yet, I would rather that than these guys that we're putting out there. And you're seeing the effort, man. It's not there. To your point, we're not even really running Kevin's system. Like the zone running's way down. This offense doesn't even know what the fuck it is. It doesn't.
No.
And we're 8 games in, man. This I don't have anything to point to why this should continue the way it's continuing. Not a damn thing, and it's disheartening. This is the fact that we're already here by the bye. And when we talked about it, like you had to have at least 3, if not 4 wins by the bye to even be semi-relevant going into the back half of this. You have 2. And you played 8 games, and in 4 games, you've been blown the hell out. Like I don't know what you're pointing to operationally that makes you think that this needs to be the people leading this thing going forward, man. But here we are. There's not going to be any changes made during the bye, which leads me to believe there's not going to be any sweeping changes made during the back half of the schedule either.
It's just, to me, like I've struggled. You said this on a short one of our short videos that we put up every day on TikTok and YouTube. You talked about, like, I can't point to anything as to why you keep this regime, and like you and I especially, I know Nick has gone kind of back and forth some, but you and I especially have been staunch defenders of Kevin Stefanski. I can't defend what they're doing. I can't defend it in any way, shape, or form at this point. And that brings us to the question that the overarching theme of this show is it time to go to Shedeur Sanders? And the reason I say that it is, and I'm a Gabriel guy, like everybody knows that. Like I was all for Gabriel. I thought he could run this offense. These are some numbers Cody Sweck over Browns Film Breakdown put out there. So 40 quarterbacks have 50-plus dropbacks this season. Of those qualifiers, Dylan Gabriel is 40th in yards per attempt at 4.9, which is just ugh. 40th in big-time throw rate, only 1.3%. 1.3%. Which probably means he's made like 1 or 2 big-time throws in period. That to have that low of a percentage. And 40th in success rate at 36.7%. Right now, whatever he is seeing, whatever he is doing, it's not working. And you're in a situation where you've got Shedeur Sanders. You've got to figure out. To me, the right move is to make the move to Shedeur right now because it's the bye week. He has 2 weeks. I know they're not really practicing this week. There's just, because they give him the time off, they do some things like that. But you give him at least the mental, you allow him to begin to get into the mental side of being a starter, right? Because it's like, oh, hey, the Jets, 10 days from now, it's going to be you. And you don't have to make that statement publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. Actually, I'd prefer if you didn't, to be completely honest with you. Keep it under wraps, right? Like, just keep it under wraps. And I say you make the move because for me, Dillon Gabriel has shown no progress. He has not shown any steps forward. He doesn't look like the guy, like the things that I had as his pros. I'm not seeing him.
I would argue his best game was his first game.
Yeah.
And
I think you have, because the blowout against the Dolphins, he did what he needed to do to not sabotage it, but that a lot of that had to do with special teams and defense really helping his cause. And for me, it's like the sample size is small. You can't say, hey, Dillon Gabriel will never have any success. I still think he can be a quality backup quarterback, but what you're looking at right now is it's not working. Let me see what I have in Shedeur Sanders. Give him adequate amount of prep time. Go out there, let him play. He might save your freaking job. Like he might. I'm not saying he will, but like if he can go out there and perform and you go, oh, this could work. This kid could be something. And we know he's got the talent. It's in terms of the physical skill set. And it was like, oh, Gabriel's ahead of him in the classroom. Well, I mean, reports are that he's worked his tail off to catch up in that sense. So for me, it's time to go to Shedeur Sanders because Dillon Gabriel is not giving you any, like, people say that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are safe no matter what. You keep losing games like this, and Jimmy will blow it the hell up. And he should if you keep losing games like this. So rather going to Shedeur gets you more wins, or maybe it just gives you more optimism and it saves your job because of that. To me, it's time to make the change, and because he's getting worse, and if it keeps trending this way, heads are going to roll.
I try to look at recent quarterback examples like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones and guys like that as like a reason to say, hey, maybe patience is the path here. But I just haven't seen any type of flash because Casey, you just said it. Dillon Gabriel's best game was probably his first game, and it has been downhill since. And there's nothing that he is doing on the field right now that you can hold on to and say, I think that this could improve dramatically.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough situation, right? Because you draft a guy in the third round, give him a whole bunch of first team reps in camp, and you're not really that many games into the experience with Dillon Gabriel, and you're talking about realistically moving off of him. And I don't know that is 100% his fault. Some of it is just the situation of the team where you say we've got 2 first-round picks next year, and we got to make some choices here because we are 2-6, and we are looking at having a top draft pick at least with your own pick, and who knows, Jacksonville's kind of spiraling a little bit, so we'll see. So I just think it makes sense to go to Shedeur because you drafted 2 quarterbacks. It's not a conventional setup, so it's not going to be a conventional season. So at this point, you are more benefited by exploring every quarterback avenue you have to, just like you said, Jacob, potentially save your job.
The question is, though, if all of a sudden, because I don't think it's going to happen in this next game, but it's going to happen at some point. We see Shedeur. If Shedeur comes in and is awesome, why was he on the bench? Why does that? I don't trust the guys to lead going forward. If this kid could have been winning games, and then all of a sudden, I don't think it should save Stefanski's job, in my opinion. I think that's an indictment, if anything.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've got a worst offense in the league sandwich with Joe Flacco in between it as the nice peanut butter and jelly, and the worst offense in the league again, right? that's the Kevin Stefanski experience right now, and that's damning no matter what talent, personnel, or offense you're running out there.
Well, and then so Casey, that makes me ask you this question, because I had not considered that aspect of it. That like, oh, why was he third string if he goes out here and lights it up? Like, you made a mistake there, that kind of thing. Like, so do you think there's a world that they turn to him, they turn to Shedeur Sanders, and he does play well, and that Kevin still gets fired because they go, yeah, man, you can't figure out what you've got on the roster? I mean, because like I say it as like, oh, he could save his job, because that's just the way I look at it. And I had not looked at it the way you're talking about. Like, so you're telling me he turns to him, and his Shedeur lights it up. Doesn't even have to light it up, but just plays really well. To you, you would say that if it was up to you, you would make the change even with that?
Well, look, now, if you light it up, or if we go out there and all of a sudden they're averaging 40-some points a game, that probably would save his job. But it's tough for me to, because it almost feels like if he does go out there, he's going to be doing it in spite of, as opposed to because of Stefanski. Because we've had 8 games. You've had 2 quarterbacks play 4 games apiece. Those 2 quarterbacks have extremely different skill sets, physical dimensions, everything. But the offense has looked just as shitty with both quarterbacks. Who's the common denominator? It's Kevin Stefanski, man. Like, you, at some point, he has to lay in the bed. This is the offense. This is the system you went into it with this year. And this offense is completely toothless, you know? So, like, you know, and this might not even be fair. But if you had this available to you, and that was the difference between this offense looking good and looking the way it has for the past 8 weeks, and you couldn't come to the conclusion sooner that this guy could give you a spark, could do all these things. Now, this could come to, like, look, man, they could go to Shedeur and the offense could look just as shitty. I mean, I'd say that's probably even way more likely, just based on the sample size that we've had, their inability to develop any kind of identity, you know, and a lot of it's mismanagement of the roster, to be honest with you, because you had to know going into the season your offensive line was going to be a liability. You still let it happen, you know, and you like, look, we all convinced ourselves this change back to scheme was going to mean all this stuff. They had to, like, if we can't be the first to know it, they have to know it before we do, you know. And if they didn't, man, it's malpractice, dude. I can't get on board with anything that's happened. You know, the only saving grace is the rookies, right? That's the only thing that we're like, look, that you can look positive at. But even that, man, I don't think that one rookie class should be enough to save AB's job either. Like, you botched all these other things too, man. They're in lockstep. You know, we heard it all this year, and now it finally feels like there's some non-lockstep going on. Like, there's a little misstep in there between those two. I just think, like, you know, man, I think it's a package deal. If you move on from one, you need to move on from the other and just scrap this whole approach. The only hard part is the way all these contracts are structured out. You need someone with that kind of understanding of the cap to come in and try to hold it together so you can field a fucking team. Like,
yeah, I texted you about this yesterday. You and I had this conversation via text, and you had said that about, like, oh, what about, you know, Andrew Berry moving on? If they move on from Andrew Berry, what are they going to do financially? And it's like, in my opinion, I think you keep somebody from this front office that has watched it, you know, or you find somebody else that is a good capologist, and you make that hire in addition to the new GM hire, and you kind of change maybe a little bit of the structure, because you're right. That was a big concern for me. Like, I had not thought, you know, I had thought about it before, but when you brought it up again, I'm like, oh shit. like I'm really I'm like, this is frustrating. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, you got a good point. Like, but I don't want that to be the reason that you continue to go through what you're going through, because you're worried about the financial sides of things, because it's just not the way you want to operate, in my opinion. But I'm at the point now, as staunch of a Kevin Stefanski supporter as I have ever been, I don't personally see a world where I want him back.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. I want to see Shedeur Sanders not see this, and this is where I'm kind of like I've been battling in my head, right? Like I want to see Shedeur Sanders because I want to see if they've got something there so that they don't have to draft a quarterback. But at the same time, do I want him to get out there, perform, and save Kevin's job? Like, because I don't know that I want that. Like, I don't know that I'm very much leaning towards the clean house kind of side of things. And I'm like, but at the same time, the fan in me wants to win and wants to win right now. Right. And I think your best chance to win right now is not Dylan Gabriel. Your best chance to win right now is Shedeur Sanders. And I'm not saying that Shedeur's ready, whatever. He may be hurt, all this stuff. I know there's a million components that go to it. I do believe I want them to clean house, front office, head coach, the coaching staff. I do believe I want that. But at the same time, the fan in me wants to win. And if they start winning, they're not going to clean house. Like if they start winning games, especially if I understand what you say, like it's an indictment on you if you put out Shedeur and he plays well. But at the same time, then the argument is, well, we can win with Shedeur. We just showed you that. And so it's like, we are in this really, really shitty spot where you're like, man, like what? It's just a shitty spot.
I did a quick count, and I could be off, but it looks like they've lost 13 of their last 15 games, which is quite a streak. And
I love how like polite you were about that. You didn't go like this is bull. You're like, well, that's quite the streak.
I'm trying to be measured, I'm trying to be.
I respect it.
6 years is an eternity in the NFL. And you might be able to understand that if you're like in year one, a regime, maybe even year two, right? When they're trying to establish something. But when you're in year 6, you needed to have shown growth in your position. You needed to be able to show building a foundation. Really meaning when you say like smart, tough, accountable, or like whatever your catchphrases are, or whatever your mantra mentality is, you need to show some sort of substance behind that. And here we are now, just loss after loss after loss, and it all rings hollow. It all feels very meaningless when you don't back it up with any action. And there's no signs of progress, of moving towards, of growth. And so to me, that's the nail in the coffin. And that's why I'm ready to move on from the whole thing and to start over.
Go ahead.
Well, I brought this up with the short yesterday, but what Nick just said, honestly, we're in year 6 of this operation. And that continuity has brought us nothing. Our floor is still the basement. When you're in year 6, your floor should be as close to 500 as possible. If things go terrible, we'll still be this good because we have these guys in place, the leadership, the accountability, all the things that come along with keeping this group together. But it's meant nothing, man. Like that's the most disheartening part. Like we've built nothing here. And for years, the dark ages, when we're talking about from 2015 to 2018, where it's like, you're as bad can be. But then 2018 happens and you start actually pushing the boulder up the hill, But it feels like that boulder's just rolled back on top of us and we're right where we were, man. Like that's the disheartening part, is you had a core of young players from David and Miles through Baker and Chubb and Denzel, and you built this thing and you had this young core of players, and that's all fizzled out and you got fuck all to show for it. Like I can't forgive that, man. You got to build. There's got to be progress towards something. And I understand that all progress is linear. Sometimes there's going to be peaks and valleys, but you got to keep the goal needs to be moving up, but it's not. It's not. And I got to trust this group to mold this. We have another core. We have another young core right here. They're just now being blossomed. And I'm to trust these fuckers with handling that and make sure this thing goes on the up and up. Can't be me, man. I can't do it.
Okay, I got it. Are you ready? the Cleveland Browns in this regime are just like Sisyphus. You know who Sisyphus is?
Yes, I do.
Sisyphus is the Greek, in Greek mythology, he's the king that got punished by the gods for his trickery. And for all time, his punishment is that he pushes a big rock up to the top of the hill every day. It then breaks apart and rolls all the way back down the hill, and he has to go back down and push it back up. That's what this regime has. And I thought you were getting at it, Casey, when you started to say that about pushing a rock. And so I was like, I can never remember Sisyphus. I can never remember his name. I always remember like the punishment of the rock. And then he just has to keep doing that. That's like what we're getting, right? Like they're pushing it up there because like in 2023, I really thought the foundation was laid. Like I really thought the foundation was laid because they went out there and they overcame so much adversity. They lost, what was it? Like 25% of their cap hit was on IR. Like, you know, I know a lot of that was Watson, but you know, that was just, they were down to their 11th offensive tackle, you know, they like some stupid, and they won with fucking PJ Walker. All right. Like they beat a really, really good 49ers team with PJ Walker. So I'm like, that foundation is there. And then the rock broke apart and rolled right back down the hill in 2024. And we have not got back up to the hill. I'm sorry, the rock. Yeah, 2024. Because I didn't know what fucking year it was right now, so I got confused. It rolled back down in 2024, and we're still down here in 2025.
That's what they've done to us. They got us forgetting the year out here, man. Us together. And that's why 24 was so disheartening to me, is I thought you finally set that floor, man. And I said, I was like, man, at worst, this is a 7-win team. If everything goes to hell, it's still a 7-win team. 3. And here's the bitch, and I know people are going to disagree with this. I think they're going to win some more games this year because they play some really bad teams. It doesn't mean anything. If you beat the Jets and the Titans, like none of that shit means anything because you're not a team of consequence, man. When you play the good teams, you're going to get blown out. That's what we've seen so far. Every time we played a team that was halfway decent, they hand you your ass. And it's not even competitive in the second half. You're just like a mirage in the first half. You get that second half, man, and you're double digit. You're losing by double digits. And when we see an NFL spread that's like 9 or 10 points, we're like, ooh, that's huge. It's not, man.
I look, dude, just for clarity, their underdog is against the Jets this weekend.
Yeah.
Let that. By the way, I did love the Jets coming back on Cincy. It was at least my brother-in-law is a Bengals fan, and we like that. We have this little, you know, like we go back and forth against each other. So that was kind of cool. True Teller Maxwell really kind of put it in. I really like the way you said this in the comments. He said, if he's good or bad, who cares? It's not like the talking about Shedeur Sanders. It's not like the Browns invested a lot in him. There's nothing to lose. Him being good benefits the Browns. That's how I feel about why I want him to play. I know up here, we had a comment here that says, why are people so sure Shedeur is going to win when he has a history of losing versus NFL caliber players, talking about him in college? I'm not so sure he's going to win. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying of the quarterback room, I think he gives you the best chance to win. It could be a complete and own dumpster fire like it is right now, but I would rather attempt and see what he has than to keep doing because we know what they're doing right now is a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. We're not 100% sure what Shedeur. Well, I can say this verbatim. You're not sure what Shedeur is going to do. Is it likely going to still be a dumpster fire because he has shitty play calling, a shitty offensive line, and shitty skill players? Yeah. Yeah. But like Truth Teller Maxwell said, what do you got to lose? What do you got to lose by doing that? Let me put this graphic back up. This is the offensive stats. My head is completely obscured by our logo. There's the graphic. There's the stats. So what the hell do you got to lose?
I would rather go out swinging.
Yes. I'm with you. I'd rather go out trying something else and trying to be like, hey, we tried everything. Nick, you weren't here when I brought this up, but it's like they keep running out Bond when he sucks, but then they have other players like Thrash when they splat and they're flashing and things like that. And then they're just like going away. What? Nobody seems to know what the fuck they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish. And I'm not talking about us on the outside. I'm talking about the fuckers in the building.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're right. And it's to the point now where I saw Myles Garrett get compared to those Mike Trout jokes on the Angels, where Mike Trout does something that hasn't been done since 1932 and the Angels lose like 10-3. Some nonsense like that. And it's just it's I think that's the key for me is you made a fork in the road decision when you paid Myles Garrett rather than trading him. And you sent the message, especially because of how hard you made it to trade him, that we want to compete and win right now. Because since we're this analytically driven front office, if we thought we weren't going to be able to be good enough, we should move on from Myles Garrett to get assets to bolster our future. But you didn't do that. You sent the message that you were trying to compete here and now you've lost 13-15, right? So that's the thing, man, is because now you look at it and you say you'd have to move heaven and earth to move him if you did. Not that you want to, right? But logically, if you're going to be this shit sandwich offense, you're not benefiting from having Myles Garrett on the team. You're benefiting from acquiring more assets to try and pull yourself out of this hole you're in.
Yeah. Yeah. Another comment here. To be honest, this is probably the best coaching Shedeur has had. Look at Colorado now. That is kind of a sad statement, but probably accurate.
How are you going to besmirch Pat Shurmur like that?
Jesus. You know what's hilarious about that is I keep like forgetting that Pat Shurmur is the OC at Colorado, and then something's, like everybody knows I'm a big draft guy. We do 2 draft pods every week here on our channel. Check that out. We got our top 10 edge rankings coming up for the 2026 draft class. That'll be live at 10 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube. So you want to check that out. It's a freaking some dudes in that class. And I know the Browns aren't hurting for edge rushers, but there's some dudes in this class. But anyway, so I watch a lot of college football. I watch a ton of it. And then like, they'll be like, all of a sudden I'll flip over to like a Colorado game for a little bit, cause I'll flip through some games and things. And then I'll just see Pat Shurmur and I just get so angry. It just every time I see Pat Shurmur's face, I'm like, it's like, and then you know what I do? I feel bad. I feel bad for Shedeur Sanders because it's like our good friend Sam Penix, who works for the OBR, I had a conversation and he talked about this where he's like, I think Shedeur, if they work on his mechanics, like could get more drive on the ball. Cause that's been one of the complaints about Shedeur Sanders is his arm strength. And he's like, I just don't think anybody in college like coached him on proper technique and setting his feet and driving with his lower body and like blah, blah, all the stuff that like offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches should be working on with a college player. And then I remember Pat Shurmur and I'm like, yep, that's why he didn't get it.
I just want to add what Bill's saying. And Bill, we love you. You will also see Bill at 10 a.m. on Saturday if you're looking for all your fun college stuff. But Bill, so this is the thing. So Bill says a no trade clause in a massive dead cap and cap hit makes it inability to field a team. I don't see a way you trade Myles without folding the team, but let's be honest, it's not 95's fault. And I completely agree with that. But when you pay Myles, you are making a pivotal future decision, whether you're going to be able to get assets, because we entered this year saying this regime is not on the hot seat, right? Or you're going to trade Myles and play for the future. And by paying him, you're saying that you think you can compete, because there's no way you're keeping Myles Garrett at the peak value he was at if you don't think you can win. because there's just too much value there to move him if you think you're a few years away, right? As he leaves his prime. So that's what bothers me, man, is they're not showing a proper evaluation of where they are as a team, of what they are, what they're capable of, what their ceiling is, what their situation is. Because if you properly evaluate it and you said, if you gave Andrew Berry truth serum and you said you're going to be 2-6 at week 8 going into the bye, are you trading Myles Garrett or are you paying him? You're trading him 100% of the time. 100% of the time as a 29-year-old dude who is now 30, about to be 30.
30 in December, I believe.
So it's just math, right?
Yeah. Just this comment right here, talking that Shedeur's the most accurate quarterback in college, and he was tutored by Tom Brady, and we sound stupid. No, what I'm saying is I think his offensive coordinator held him back. Like, I'm not saying any of what we're saying right now are not knocks on Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
Like, it's a knock on fucking Pat Shurmur, and that I think Shedeur Sanders could look even better than he did in college with better coaching. That's what I'm saying. It was not an insult in any way, shape, or form. So I just to be clear, I would say what I was really trying to point out, because somebody even said it, this might be the best. We're talking about how bad this coaching staff is, but yet it still might be the best coaching he's ever gotten, which makes what he accomplished in college, more impressive. Like, I think, and what we were talking about was that with better coaching, he could perform even better. That's what I was saying. But I can understand, and you're saying he misunderstood what I was saying. Cool. We're good. We're on the same page, brother. I promise you. That was not slander, because I titled this episode, "Is it Shedeur Sanders time?" And my answer is yes. So let's, Casey, you need to wrap this thing up, I think.
Yeah, man, I got to hit the road.
Okay, so let's go around the horn. Final thoughts. Casey, hit us.
Here's my final thoughts. You have 9 games left. Could this regime do something that changes your mind in these next in the back half of the schedule? Yes, but for me, it's not going to happen in weeks 17, 18, 19. That shit's irrelevant. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen right out the gate. Weeks 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You got to see this building and being something. And the first charge I have is for Andrew Berry right here, right now. Trade deadline's the 4th of November. You cut the contractual fat that you can actually walk away from right now, and you lean into these young guys. And if you can build something out of that, we'll talk. If not, I got nothing for these guys.
I just want to echo, go down swinging, bring Shedeur Sanders out. Let's see what you got.
Yep. Show me all the young guys. It's that plain and simple. Hey, Casey will be back with no, he won't.
No, there's no enemy.
There's no enemy to know this week.
No enemy this week.
Oh,
so we are off until Saturday.
With the Jets guest.
Saturday, we will be back live 10 a.m. here on YouTube. Talk about our top 10 edge rushers in the 2026 class. Guys, we love you as always. We will see you guys again next time.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. That's stuff. You should do it.